I'm just going to ask, maybe just pop one question to each of you. Mumbi, I made a note. You mentioned something about creating a customer-centric capability. I want to ask, do you have an example for us of such customer experience capability?
So capabilities are basically the functions or, for lack of a better word, the things you need to pull together to actually deliver on something. So a capability for CX is actually having the expertise, the skills, the tools, the frameworks that you need to deliver on that customer experience. So the picture I had on the screen around the capabilities you need to be a truly client-centric organization would be talking to that. So you need to be able to gather and consolidate and disseminate research, for example. Okay. I don't like to call it research, I prefer to call it insights. So you need to be able to collect, consolidate, analyze, and disseminate useful insight to the organization, to the right people at the right time to make the right decisions. So that's a capability, for example. Okay. You need a design capabilities, the ability to actually define the experience you want and design it. And in such a way as I loved Clint's presentation around the fact that that design must be consumed by everyone in the organization in a way that makes sense to them. You know, so we design journey maps, yes, but that's not it. The journey map gives you one lens, but you need to be able to translate that to a process that people can use. You need to translate that to what we need from a systems perspective. And that's what we call a design capability. You need a measurement capability, for example. How do you ensure that you're measuring, you have the right measurement framework, you have the right measures happening at the right points in the organization, and you have people to actually collect those measures and then make them meaningful through analysis and consolidation, and then disseminate in a way that the rest of the organization can use them. So when I refer to capabilities, that is what I'm talking about.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Clint, I mean, yeah, just again, being the big brother and opening yourself up and exposing yourself like that. Sure. Just a question from my side. You're already doing a lot of journey maps, but are you doing journey maps for each and every persona?
No. We are doing journey maps for the persona most likely to use them. So if you've got a customer, you've got a set of customers, right? One is more tech savvy, one's probably bigger focus on a call center or face-to-face kind of transactions. You design for the best case. In other words, you give the guy who's going to be tech savvy, you create an experience that works for that particular customer. And then you allow every customer in your on your books to use that experience. It's not you don't design one experience for every person. That becomes too wieldy.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. We have a question, but before I'm going to get to that question, Marnus, so how do you have one tip for us on how we can go about to get, but also remain the buy-in from our excos?
Michelle, I think there's maybe two things there, and I think both Mumbi and Clint spoke about that in their talks as well. Unfortunately, money talks. So unless there's a robust business case that shows the value in the organization of CX, whether it's product-centric transformation, doesn't matter, or customer-centric, there's value in both of those worlds. Unless there's a robust business case that first shows the total value or the total size of the price to the organization, and that business case can compete against other business cases in the organization, it's big enough that it actually gets executive attention, it gets executive buy-in, and then resource allocation following that to the CX program. Unfortunately, dead in the water. So I think that's the first step. And where I've seen a lot of CX transformation programs fail is that big business case, that strategic business case that shows holistically how CX can transform the organization is missing. And a lot of times we get bogged down with business cases that focus on specific aspects of a customer journey, specific touch points or specific stages, And unfortunately, those business cases typically yield very little value in the short term, and they can't compete against business cases that are more robust and more valuable in the organization, have a higher ROI. So I think that's the first step. And then the second one is to continuously prove the value. So as a CX professional, we always have to go back to our original business case and prove to the executives that that business case that we positioned, that value that we positioned in the organization that can be unlocked through CX transformation is actually unlocked. And that means going back monthly, quarterly, 6 monthly, or annually to actually revisit that and to prove that the value that you did position or did promise to the organization from a CX transformation perspective is actually realized. You can track it back to the organization, to the efforts of the CX team. And unfortunately, what I'm also seeing a lot of times is that CX teams cannot pinpoint what they have done to unlock that value in the organization. They can't own the value creation in the organization.
Awesome. There's one question. I'm just going to open it up to the panelists. I'm not sure who wants to answer. So the question is from, it says, Psycho. We tend to spend a lot of time attending to clients that scream or complain the loudest. How do we ensure that we provide a wider customer experience for both the loud clients and the quiet ones?
Maybe I should ask Clint to go, but yes, lots of experience here. But I think we need to get behind what the shouting client is about. So there's various reasons that you have clients complaining. So if we start from the approach that a client complaint is valuable feedback that we need, especially in terms of improving CX, then the question is what we do with that feedback. Because it's not just so much about providing CX to everyone, it's actually about understanding whether this is aligned to what you're trying to do. So one of the examples is, I have found that a lot of screaming clients are screaming because they're not your target market. They're not your target market. They are going to scream irrespective of what you do. But in our organizations, often we are trying to be everything to everybody. So for that reason, they scream, we try to do better, and we continuously do better, but they are not aligned to our organization. So that's just an example. It's not the only reason. But what I'm trying to say is that you need to understand why your client is shouting. If it's the wrong target market, then maybe get them on the right product or actually exit the relationship if that's what needs to be done. But on the other hand, it could be actually that we need to fix the basics that are making the client shout. We need to understand their expectations, and by understanding that expectation, then you can fix it. If we don't understand the expectation, then first, we don't know whether they're the right client for our business, or secondly, we don't know what we are doing wrong to cause that shouting.
Awesome. That's an interesting perspective. Clint, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, look, I think Mumbi actually has got it spot on there. A shouting client or screaming client is a source of great insight. But my ex-boss always used to say to me, the reason why you're in customer experience is because you're scared of customers who yell at you in customer care. So stay away from the call center and do something differently. So I think that the real ad here is exactly what Mumbi said. You need to think about that customer who's yelling at you as an inspiration to doing something better. There's a reason why they are upset. Sometimes most times it's probably justified. And you need to find that justification and use that insight to improve the experience that you're going to offer all your other clients.
Awesome. Marnus, do you have something
Michelle,
to add to that?
Yeah, maybe I started in customer experience when we didn't have customer experience, right? We only had customer care departments. And we were relegated to the back, darkest, deepest dungeons in the companies that we worked in because we dealt with customer complaints, right? So we only had customer complaints departments. So we actually get used to customers shouting at us in those departments. And I think the evolution of customer experience is exactly that question that's being asked at the moment, is actually when customers shout or loud and we spend time or invest in that relationship or spend time with that customer, we are doing it on the principle that there's value in that customer relationship. That's why we're spending time with them. And actually, when customers are loud or shouting or being obnoxious and being difficult, sometimes there's not value in that relationship. And sometimes we do let those relationships go, by the way, in organizations, if they're not profitable or can't be turned profitable. And I think that's the crux of dealing with both customers that are loud and customers who are not, who's quiet, is when we interact with customers, the proactive engagement strategy should be driven by customer value and should be determined by how much value can still be unlocked from that customer relationship. And that should determine how much time a customer experience or a customer engagement or a customer value maximization or management team spends with their customer, and proactively engage with them and spend time with them to maximize that value of the relationship. So let's say, for example, a company has 11 or 15 products and a customer only has bought one of those products at that point in time. There's still 14 products they can buy from that organization which they haven't bought. So there's a lot of unlocked potential sitting in that relationship of that customer. And I think that's what will help us to actually build strategies and get buy-in into those strategies, to spend more time with those quiet customers who are actually valuable to the brand or the organization in the future, or that can be more valuable to the organization.
I think, Michelle, I'd like to add one last thing. There are two kinds of customers who yell. Customers who are yelling at you because they genuinely are passionate about your product or your company and want stuff to be better. And those that are yelling at you to get a quick buck or to try and get some kind of revenge. The key is to know the difference and when to embrace the person who's genuinely trying to make your organization better, and when to distance yourself from the person who's just out to get a couple of rand out of you. It's a difficult thing. And I'm not terribly good at it myself, to be fair.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Clint. Thank you, Mumbi, Marnus. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for our attendees. We are so sorry we went about more than 20 minutes over. So we hope you enjoyed this event. Just in closing, can I just quickly say thank you to all our sponsors. Please just bear a minute with me and then just give me, if you don't mind. I just want to get to that screen. Sorry, everyone. Just a big shout out to all our sponsors. So Budapest Bank, they are one of our sponsors. Elisa, they're a customer journey management company, as well as Semantica, customer management company. Ian Golding, we all know Ian quite well. Then there was the European Customer Consultancy. Then there was Ceruti, and then as Map and Key, myself, we've all been sponsors for this great, amazing day. So thank you to all our sponsors for making this happen. And thank you to everyone. Clint, Mumbi, Marnus, again, thank you for giving us your time and sharing some of your learnings with us. We really, really do appreciate it. And hopefully we can do this again next year, and maybe we can contribute and make it a bigger event.
Well done, Michelle. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Michelle, for coordinating it all.
Thanks, Michelle.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. It was great being part of it.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye to all our attendees.